So it finally happened with the Baltimore Ravens. And what I'm referring to is them officially announcing that Todd Monken has not only agreed to, but also signed a contract extension. Now, we don't know the details of the deal. We don't know the money. We don't know the length, the terms of the deal. But honestly, right now, that's not even the most important thing. Something that I was thinking about with them finally, because we had heard about it from media. We had heard about it from reporters and whatnot, but we hadn't heard anything official from the Baltimore Ravens. Now, of course, they got some other stuff that came up, but with us actually seeing it directly from them, like, oh, Todd Monken has signed a contract extension to stay the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. That's great. That's wonderful news. We all love that because we know this offense was record-breaking and so on and so forth. We get that. We know Todd Monken is expected to be 2 for 2 when it comes to Lamar Jackson being an MVP in Todd Monken's offense. So that's all beautiful thing. Now, normally, correct me if I'm wrong, because I could be, but normally, especially for a coach, offensive coordinator, so a coach on a team of this magnitude, especially with the offense that we done had the past couple of years, I would think that signing him to a contract extension would bring about a press conference. But we have not seen a press conference. We have not seen a press conference scheduled to announce Todd Monken's contract extension, because that's a pretty big deal for the Baltimore Ravens. But of course, with everything else that they have going on right now, you can understand why. Because if, say for instance, they had a press conference for Todd Monken, it would be technically for Todd Monken, but you know they're going to be asking everything about the whole situation that's going on currently with Justin Tucker. And right now, if the Ravens don't have any answers when it comes to the situation with Justin Tucker, they can't just trot out there for a press conference. And unless you give a definitive answer on something that's either going to or not going to happen, you cannot get up there and have a press conference really about anything right now. Like literally nothing. Because what's going on with him, it trumps everything, anything else that's happening with the Baltimore Ravens right now. Because if John Harbaugh got up there and spoke, oh yeah, we love Todd Monken, he's a great offensive coordinator for the team, blah, blah, blah. First question off rip is going to be, hey, okay, so what happened with Justin Tucker? How do you feel about Justin Tucker? Did you know about Justin? That's what it's going to be. And Ravens right now, of course, they don't want that. Because for them, it's really a lose-lose since nothing has happened with Justin Tucker yet. So I would think that would be the reason why there hasn't been a press conference for Todd Monken's contract extension as of right now. Now, something that I did want to touch on that we spoke about it briefly a couple of videos ago, but just in case anybody missed it, with Justin Tucker. Now, I still do expect the Ravens to make a move with Justin Tucker. And I know it's still just allegations, but I do expect them to move on from Justin Tucker. Even with it being allegations, even with everything being alleged, I think the Baltimore Ravens, I think they're going to move on, and I think that they would at least announce it very soon. They couldn't do anything yet. Because the way that they're probably going to do it, and Brian McFarland, he actually explained it in detail. He said the team would probably use a post-June 1st designation to spread the dead money over 2 years. He said the team can't actually use the designation until after the new league year begins on March 12th, but they can announce it. So if they are going to move on from Justin Tucker, they can say it. They can't do it until March 12th officially, but they can let the world know what their next move is going to be. But they got to make that decision first. And we haven't heard anything yet, so it seems like that decision is still, everything is pending right now. Because, again, that's what, in my opinion, with Todd Monken, you would have had a presser for him. Oh, yeah, even if it was like 15 minutes. Even if it was a quick one. Oh, yeah, Todd Monken, you would have had John Harbaugh speak, EDC speak, and then you would, of course, had Todd Monken speak as well. But you can't do none of that right now since this whole Justin Tucker situation is still going on. But anyway, back to this. If they were to cut him, it says a post-June 1st designation creates $4.2 million in cap space this year and spreads out the dead money. So the dead money would be $2.8 million this year and $4.6 million next year. Now, with the post-June 1st designation, you have 2 of those that you can use per year. Now, obviously, the other one, if they do use it on Justin Tucker, obviously nothing's set in stone right now. But the other one that they will be using will be for Marcus Williams. Because we know Marcus Williams, he reworked his contract with the Ravens, so he can go ahead and get on up out of here. And we knew, like, from once they started benching him, their $70 million savings. Oh, yeah, we all already knew, like, that was it for him with the Baltimore Ravens, that he was not going to be a Raven after the season was done. So him getting ready to be escorted out, it comes as no surprise at all. Now, I wonder if they could find a trade partner for Marcus Williams, like sort of a last second. But either way, Marcus Williams is done with the Baltimore Ravens. But again, you can only use 2 post-June 1st designations, so I would have to assume if the Baltimore Ravens end up releasing Justin Tucker, then that's exactly what they're going to go with. But again, back to with Todd Monken, they like you can't trot Todd Monken out there. Oh yeah, we just signed Todd Monken to a contract, except but because it's going to be heat from the media, as it should be. Like, the questions are going to come. The questions are going to be thrown at EDC, Harbaugh, whoever will be up there on the podium. And again, if they don't got no answers for what their next move is, then it'll be a mess. It'll make what's already a messy situation even messier. And the Baltimore Ravens, they don't want it to get any messier than it already is. I mean, it's hard to get even messier than this, but it is definitely possible because they know their every single word, their every single move is being watched like crazy. Now, Todd Monken wasn't the only hire of the Baltimore Ravens. They said they also officially hired Tyler Santucci to be their new linebackers coach. He's 36 years old, and this is from BaltimoreRavens.com. He said he was most recently the defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, and he was the defensive coordinator at Duke the year before, and a co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach at Texas A&M in 2022. So was a previous defensive coordinator in college ranks, but now he's entering the NFL. And this is actually his first job in the NFL, so Ravens are putting him on. Harbaugh said, hey, you want a job? You want to move up in the ranks? Hey, come through. I got you. He said as he worked his way up the college ranks after starting at his alma mater, Stony Brook, in 2019. So that's cool. That'll bring some variety to the Baltimore Ravens. I believe their previous linebackers coach was Mark DeLeon, and they let him go, and now they replace him like that. So I would expect him, obviously going to be the linebackers coach now, but he could move his way up, work his way up to a different position with the Baltimore Ravens, and then eventually becoming a defensive coordinator, then eventually possibly even becoming a head coach, depending on how things go. Now we reach my favorite part of these videos where we get to feature your questions. If you'd like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com, or for the patrons, you can send a DM directly on Patreon. And if you would like to become one, you can go to patreon.com/Ingravenvids. First question came from a patron, my guy Derrick. He said, hey Ingraven, how are you? Hey, we're pretty good, man. He said, I hope you and everyone are well. Me, I'm fine. I'm managing. Just a bit down. I started a job I like, but my back doesn't like it. It's affecting my performance. It happened a few years back. My injury is come to resurface his ugly head again. Hey, well, hopefully everything could get cleared up. If you could make a trip to the doctor or something like that to see what's going on, see how you could possibly alleviate that pain and alleviate whatever it is that you're dealing with so it doesn't affect your performance in a negative way. Or if you talk to the job about it, they may be like, hey, well, maybe you could do something different. I don't know what the job is, so I can't really speak on it too much. But hopefully everything will end up working itself out. You know how it goes. But anyway, small setback, but you'll get it. He said, Ingraven and Teamkeepitclean reminder, if y'all have back pain or injury for an extended period of time, do not hesitate to get that taken care of immediately, because a bad back in your mid-30s to early 40s is a nightmare. Well, speaking of backs, let's get back to the original topic, our Ravens. that was cool. That little smooth segue. He said, Ingraven, I know you talk about big body wide receivers a lot. I would love DK Metcalf. I would love T. Higgins, but they wouldn't want to be a second or third option here. Oh, no, and I agree. And I was going to say they wouldn't be. Ravens, I think if they got one of those guys, then it would be tough. But it is nice to know that we do use receivers now. But if they got one of those guys, then it almost seems like, because I would love to have a DK Metcalf and Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, because those guys go so well with our current receivers. But I wonder if we brought one of those guys in, if somebody would end up wanting out. But anyway, he said, instead, how about a wide receiver like Bills wide receiver Mack Hollins? He's a big body, 6'4", 220 range, and he's from Maryland. I know he was from there. He said, plus he wouldn't cost much to get. No, he wouldn't. Mack Hollins wouldn't. Anyway, continuing, he said, you see, I know us Ravens fans want that guy at wide receiver. Well, that guy, wide receiver, will most definitely not want to be option 2 or 3, but a solid role player that fits the build as the big body wide receiver we're looking for. He has playoff experience. He will come in and be content in his role. Red zone target, contested catches, and a great run blocker. Wouldn't cost much at all either. Thoughts or comments on him? And we could still continue to give Tez Walker some reps as well. That's a realistic thought to have. That wouldn't be a bad option. Obviously, it wouldn't be the sexy option that we love, like, oh yeah, get that guy. But Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, they obviously got their roles with the Baltimore Ravens, and bringing in somebody, while a lot of us would, especially myself, would love if they got like that guy, especially big body guy, wide receiver, and brought him in. We know the Ravens love Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. We do too. They were really good receivers. They really proved themselves to the Baltimore Ravens this year. And they really showed out. So Mack Hollins, getting somebody like him, like you said, playoff experience, big body guy, can make some tough catches, as we've seen with the Buffalo Bills firsthand too. So he wouldn't come in and be expected to be a number 1 or number 2 receiver. He wouldn't need to be either, but just to have him ready and available as a big target guy. And we've seen like Lamar has shown throughout the years he can work with anybody. Now, I would much rather to give Lamar and I hate saying it like that. I don't want to say much greater quality than a Mack Hollins, because I don't want to take no dig at him. But I would love Lamar to have a truly established number 1 guy. With a big frame, so big catch radius and whatnot, because he deserves it, in my opinion. He deserves it. He's shown that he could make stuff happen with anybody, but I hate how that, like, I saw that somewhere, it was a trade rumor for something, and they were like, oh, Lamar's already shown that he doesn't really need the best of the best. They didn't say it like that, but they pretty much said, oh, Lamar's already shown that he doesn't need the best of the best to have a good Ravens offense. I'm thinking, while that's true, that doesn't mean you don't have to give him the best of the best. So that was just my thoughts on that. But Mack Hollins, he would be a good option for what the Ravens are maybe looking for. He said, God bless you and the wife, Carter, your daughter, and the dogs. And FYI, WrestleMania is around the corner, and I bet we will hear the gong. Oh, hey, that's my guy. That's my favorite of all time, man. He said, and see the fog of your favorite. Oh, okay, you knew that already. And you see the fog of your favorite wrestler return, The Undertaker. Just maybe. We'll see though, because he showed up last year to help Cody finish the story. Anyway, but hey, I appreciate you, Derrick. Mentality. Next question came from my guy Chris. He said, my guy, hope all is well with you and the family. Greatly appreciate what you do. Appreciate you, my friend. He said, I heard you speak on the mentality of the team and how it needs to change. I agree. How do you think it needs to change, and where do you think it needs to start? Woo. Obviously, John Harbaugh is not going anywhere, because I think that could be a place where it could start, just to get a fresh start at the head coach. But that's not going to happen, and that's cool. I ain't like, oh, John Harbaugh need to get fired. He's so bad. No. The mentality, just Ravens, especially in like regular season, we ain't worried about that. We will not be worried about regular season. Yeah, they're going to have some blunders here and there in the regular season. They do it every year, but playoffs is where the mentality definitely has to change. And Ravens, they have to just play their game. And we've been saying this for years. Play your game. Don't panic. Don't press. Take care of the ball. The Ravens really need to focus on ball control, ball security, not turning the ball over. And you don't want to play so conservative or anything like that, but you got to take care of the ball better, man. You got to. It's so important. And they just keep doing this every year, man. You got to take care of the ball. That's your number 1 enemy, is you turning the ball over. Because it ain't like these teams that they losing to. The teams that they losing to are good now. The Bills, the Chiefs, the Bills a couple years ago, and so on and so forth. But you keep turning that ball over, man. And that's a recipe for disaster every time. But anyway, he said, I think we need to be more aggressive from start to finish of the season and every game. I think we have the type of team that needs to focus on total domination and keep our foot on the necks of the rest of the league. See, with Ravens with that, they do that sometimes. Sometimes they do. And sometimes they don't. They can be up and down. And obviously, it depends on the team and whatnot. But there can be games where Ravens will pull out to a big lead. And then they start coasting. They start chilling. They're like, la, 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 la. Then the team start coming back. And it's like, whoa. There can be some games where Ravens just, from start to finish, they jump out to a big lead and they just keep running up that score. Those are some of my favorite games because those are games we sit back, we chilling, we smiling, we laughing, we just cracking jokes. We Lamar on the sideline with his shades on, or we on the sideline eating a banana or something like that. So it's like, oh man, we good, man. But yeah, Ravens. So I would agree with that if they could get more consistent. And you're not gonna blow out every team, so let's not think that you ain't gonna blow out every single team. But Ravens, when they're up, just run it up. Run it up. Really try to be dominant. And again, in regular season, they, for the most part, they do that. They win a bunch of games. They're not all dominant wins, but regular season, they got that under control. But again, it's postseason. It's postseason. Now, I did really appreciate what we saw in the postseason from the Ravens in the Steelers game because they got up to, what was it, a 21-7 lead, I think. I think it was 21-7. And then the Steelers made it 21-14, I believe. But then the Ravens scored again. And then the Ravens were just like coasting the rest of the game because they're like, we got a 14-point lead. Steelers ain't doing nothing. We chilling. We running the ball. We control this thing. So they controlled that game, and I loved it so much. And again, it's Steelers, so you ain't always going to blow out the Steelers. But it was a playoff game, and they controlled it. But Ravens, they got to get better at controlling their games, for sure. Anyway, he said, we aren't like the Chiefs who just want to keep it close and win in the end. Now, there are some games where you got to do that too. There's some games, like, again, every game ain't going to be no blowout. So you're going to have those games where you just got to play, you got to be in it, and then make those couple of plays at the end to win the game. And Ravens are more than capable of doing that. But again, like you mentioned, like the title of your question was, it's all about their mentality. Next question came from my guy, Lavarre. He said that Andrews drop gave me a flashback of that Lee Evans drop in the end zone against the Patriots in the 2011 playoff game. Similar. Very similar. Obviously, different situations, different types of games, but still playoffs, and it was a drop that helped lose us the game. Anyway, he said we can finally put that every 12 years theory to rest. Oh, yeah, that one. It's done now. Yeah, it's done. That's done. He said, can you imagine if Jaden Daniels had led the Commanders to a Super Bowl in his rookie year? The narrative that we would have heard about Lamar Jackson until he wins a championship, oh my God. Oh yeah, it would have been, yeah. But we obviously know what happened. But Jaden Daniels, man, like, look, that boy, like, he did his thing. And something that, again, we were just talking about this in the previous question, Jaden Daniels don't turn the ball over, man. He did not. Well, he threw that pick once the game was already over, but he was taking care of that ball against the Eagles. He was doing everything that he needed to do, but his I think the kick returner fumbled, I believe. I think one of his running backs fumbled. I think two of his tight ends fumbled, unless it was the same tight end twice. But they were just, and it was so tough because it's like, man, you feel for them because they just letting them down. We've seen that feeling a couple times before. But anyway, it was just rough watching that. But that boy, he's something serious, man, and he's very, very poised. And one thing I notice about him is that he really trusts the process, and he really just trusts the game plan. You can tell he trusts the game plan, and he's like, look, we're gonna get our opportunities, we're gonna get our chances. So he didn't panic, wasn't pressing. He's just doing his thing, man. So that boy is nice, man. He's nice. So yeah, as far as just, I would say the only notes that we can take from that: don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over, and just calm your nerves, and just for the whole team, calm your nerves in the playoffs, and just know that you're gonna get more opportunities for sure. He said it's a long offseason ahead, but like our Ravens, unfortunately, I'm out. My guy Jaime knew. He said the Bills ain't going nowhere except to the bar like me to watch the Super Bowl. Now he sent this right after we lost to them, but he knew, he called it. But anyway, he said, Jaime the Petty is in the building. It's cold outside. Hope all is good with you, bro. Real quick, don't you think the Ravens should be more careful and run more halfback screens with King Henry, using our number 42 Pat Ricard, a 300-pound fullback nightmare, as the lead blocker? Yeah, I would love that, but I would just love for Derrick Henry to get even more involved in the passing game in general. That is one of the issues that I had with the Baltimore Ravens offense this year. Because early on, he was not involved in the passing game at all. Then as the season went on, he was involved a little bit here and there, a little bit more and more, but nothing crazy. But if you could involve, because that would open up your offense, that would make you much less predictable too. He said, once Derrick Henry hits 18 to 20 miles per hour, it's curtains. Ain't nobody volunteering to step into a stampede, not even on National Geographic when the Buffaloes are running. He said, now, imagine these two apex athletes, Ricard and Henry, tag teaming like Golden Corral buffet killers, forcing management to slap up a time limit sign on the all-you-can-eat deal. They're throwing everybody out the club like, you're not getting in with those shoes. He said, and like Jamal Hill's UFC fights, the Lions' playoff hopes, and Scott Norwood's infamous Super Bowl 25 field goal, he said, yeah, the wide right when that cost the Bills their only real shot at a ring. I'm out. Next question came from Diego. He said, Ingraven, it's pretty crazy that the Ravens had 3 crucial mistakes in the game and still had a chance to reach overtime. Yeah, that's what hurts about these Ravens games, is that they will make mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, and they'll still be right there in it. So it always makes us imagine, like, man, what if the Ravens didn't make those mistakes? But anyway, he said Lamar displayed his worst game this season in this game and still had a better game than Josh Allen. I wouldn't say it's his worst game this season, but definitely not his worst game this season. But that first half was rough. But he made up for it in the second half, but that first half was rough. But anyway, he said, unfortunately, Zay was out this game. Mark Andrews is a key weapon on his team. But do you think it's time the Ravens get Lamar a true wide receiver one? I wouldn't mind that. Y'all already know how I feel about that one. But anyway, he said, I believe the Ravens were not prepared for a slippery or wet football. If Ravens finish above the Bills in the standings and played at home, the Ravens will go on to play the Chiefs and play to their full potential in the playoffs. Ain't no excuse for them though, man. The ball was cold. I'm sure it was wet from the snow and whatnot. But no, I think they were prepared. They just did their silly Raven stuff. They did all that, their silly Ravens stuff. He said, it's heartbreaking the Ravens had another year where players overperformed their contracts and still fell short. This year's Super Bowl doesn't even sound appealing anymore. Yeah, we're going to watch it, of course. But, we're just going to be wondering, like, oh, that could have been us. Oh, we could have been getting ready to watch the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Oh, it could have been us. Why not us? But it is what it is. He said, sad to admit, we probably won't be able to re-sign Bateman. He's already re-signed. He's already signed to a contract extension. Bateman signed a contract extension, I think, through 2026, I believe. Is it 2026? 2025, 2026. I think maybe until 2027. But he signed for the next couple of years already. I forgot exactly when his contract runs out. But I believe it may be the same when Zay Flowers' contract runs out. I got to double check though. But he signed for at least a couple more years. He said, and Henry was significantly underpaid for his presence as a leader. Hope the Ravens figure things out. Oh, Henry ain't going nowhere. They're going to redo his deal because his guaranteed money was all in the first year, which was this last year. Now he ain't really got no guaranteed money. So, yeah, Ravens going to cough up some cash to Derrick Henry. He said, sending this email from Toronto. Just so you know, you're trending out here as well. And just like Todd Monken, I'm out. Sad face. No, now he sent this on January 20th, so y'all see how far behind I am with email. So I apologize for that, and I appreciate y'all being so patient. But now you know. I mean, you obviously know this by now, but Todd Monken ain't going nowhere. At least another year. This next message that came from my guy Memphis. Mitchell said, "Ain't great when I'm sending this a couple hours after the game. This is a serious question. I really hope you could express some awareness to everyone. But even though I'm upset about the game, I checked Mark Andrews' Instagram page, and a lot of people were just sending him all type of nasty stuff and talking a lot of smack about him. And it sucks because he's willing to put his life out there on the field, being a diabetic. What people are saying is honestly sick. This isn't what Ravens community is about. Hope you can see this so you can spread the message at the end of the day that he is a Ravens legend and hashtag Mandrews." Yeah, that was unfortunate, man. That is a very, very unfortunate part of football, of people being fans, because fans can get really nasty. They can get really disrespectful. And that's why we Team Keep It Clean, man. It's Team Keep It Clean, where we have fun. We talk a little trash here and there, but nothing crazy. We don't try not to get disrespectful or anything like that. But it's just important to still remember that at both the beginning and end of the day, all these people that we talking about, these football players, they're human beings too. So we don't want to be out here saying all type of crazy stuff. Like I know people saying all type of crazy stuff to Mark Andrews. I get like you're disappointed in him. Okay, I get it. We were all disappointed in him in that fourth quarter. We got it. But to take it to that level, it's never necessary.